This is a quick update to the status of the entanglement rig. Everything is about the same, but there have been a few additions and changes. The first thing is I'll talk about the consistency across distances. So if we look at the turbulence, what I've added here on the controller, on this controller, is, notice over here on the right, a turbulence attribute. This ranges from 0 to 10, with 0 being no turbulence to 10 being too much turbulence, where 5 is in the center. It should be about right or in most cases. It just depends. And it's adjusted across distances. So here's 5, and then I'll turn this up to 10, and it's quite a bit of turbulence. This turbulence attribute incorporates both the magnitude and the attenuation from the turbulence node. So it's an easy fix. And this works also across distances. I'll set it back to 5, and then set the distance to 1/4 of a mile, which is 20,000 centimeters in each direction, approximately 1/4 of a mile. Let this run up. Pull back and see that this is a little high. And so back to the controller. So at this distance, it would need to be turned down a little bit. Let me just use this so it's easier to see. So it would be left up to the animator to dial in exactly what this is supposed to be. So like I said, 10 is way too much, and 0 is none at all. So let me stop this and put the distance back down to something easier to see. Put this at 100. And then notice on the controller there is a ribbons mode. I'll turn that on, and you'll see that in the scene now there are ribbons. Let this settle down right quick. It's a long way. 1/4 of a mile is a long way. So now you can notice in the scene that there are ribbons, and one of the options for controlling these ribbons, let that start over, is ribbon angle. And you can see that the animator can control the angle, the normal, perpendicular to the path of each of these ribbons. That's a unified control that can be broken out if necessary. And there's a ribbon width. And you'll notice also that the UVs now maintain consistency across great distances. So I'll run this out to 100,000 and let this run up. And you'll see that even at great distances and variation across the width, the UVs maintain their stretching, their position. So let me get this back. And then I just want to show one more thing, which is, I had that stretched out just in one direction, which is the a transmission applied to a shader that's applied to those two to the geometry of those ribbons. And so now I'm in Hypershade, and I'm just going to apply this shader. And you'll notice that when transmission is set to, with an index of refraction set to 0, there is no transmission. And then if this is rendered, we can send these AOVs out to work with in the next steps of the process. And the next step, let me see if I covered everything. Okay, I want to mention also that I separated the turbulence fields for each of the ribbons so that they each have different properties, giving each of the paths, each of the soft body curves, a little bit more interesting action. They don't move together as much as they did. And then, so the next step is to start working on the elements and to get that problem. That's the fun part. Thanks.